Azerbaijan Technological University, Foreign Language Department. Subject: Business English for Tourism and Hospitality. Lesson 3. Theme 2. Classification of types of tourism and hotel facilities. Text: Classification of types of tourism. Grammar revision. Present simple. Presentation is done by the senior teacher of the Foreign Language Department, Aliyə Pənahova. Before we begin working with our text, I would like you to revise the present simple tense form. We have already practiced it during our practical English classes, and you know everything about the formation and the usage of present simple tense, but I would like you to revise it, because the text which we are going to read and discuss uses much of this tense. Why? Because present simple is often used for narration. It has a narrative character, and our text also has a narrative character. We use present simple to denote an action which is usual, common, which takes place regularly from day to day in the present period of life. You must know the adverbs of time used in present simple. They are usually, always, often, sometimes, every day, week, every month, year, seldom, not often, from time to time. We usually have our English classes in the morning. As you see, the adverb of time usually stands before the predicate, before the verb. As a rule, adverbs of time such as usually, always, often, seldom, not often, they are used before the verbs. But in the next sentence, every morning I have a cup of coffee. As you see here, every morning stands at the beginning of the sentence. As a rule, such expressions, such adverbs of time as every day, week, month, year, every morning, sometimes they are used at the beginning of the sentence. Now let's look at the table and revise the formation of present simple. Let's take, for example, two verbs: to go, to put. Particle to, standing in front of the verb go and put, means that these verbs are infinitives, are used in infinitive forms. And while using them in present simple, we just put away the particle to and use only the verbs as they are. I go, we put, you go, they put. But when the subject of the sentence is the third person singular, we add suffix or ending es or s to the verb. You have already learned the rule about forming the present simple form, and know what changes take place when we add these endings. I want you to revise these rules about changings independently by yourself, and here we'll just revise it. To form the negative form of the sentence, we use don't or doesn't in front of the verb. If our subject are I, we, you, they, we use don't. If it is the third person singular, we use does. Pay attention that while using does, the verb has no ending, no suffixes, and it is used just as it is in the infinitive form. The same is when we form interrogative sentences. We use do before I, we, you, they, and does before he, she, it. And here, again, the verb of the sentence, the predicate of the sentence, is used just without any ending, without any suffix, just as it is in the infinitive form. Does he go to the university? Does she put her books into the bag? Now I would like you to do some exercises to consolidate the grammar material. The exercises are not very difficult, and I think that you will do them quite easily. In the first exercise, you must put the verbs, the underlined verbs, into the third person singular. For example, and at the same time, you must change the personal pronoun. For example, I write many letters every day. I write is the first person singular, and when we change it into the third person, we must use he or she. She writes many letters every day. In the second exercise, we must put the given sentences into the negative form. And with this purpose, we must use don't or doesn't. We listen to the radio every night. We is the first person plural, so it needs don't. We don't listen to the radio every night. Mr. Johnson have a private office. Mr. Johnson is the third person singular, so it needs doesn't to form a negative form. Mr. Johnson doesn't have a private office. Just continue doing the exercise independently by yourself. And now, before reading and working over the text, we'll get acquainted with the words and phrases from this text. Now listen to the pronunciation. Try to pronounce the words correctly and try to remember the meaning of the words, their translation. Division into types. Determine. Internal. Entrance. Exit. Purpose of travel. Recreational. Cognitive. Family familiarize with. Now, read the word several times and try to remember their meaning. Let's go on. Distinguish by the nature. Pedestrian, speller, equestrian, amateur, service consumers, wedding tours, gourmet tours, range of services, adhere, system of discharges. Here are the same words, but their meaning is given Azerbaijani. We have already heard them, but now I'll read them and remember them better. Listen attentively, please. Division into types and repeat after. Determine. Division in types. Internal. Determine. Entrance. Exit. Internal. Purpose of travel. Recreational. Purpose of travel. Familiarize with. Cognitive. Distinguish by the nature. Familiarize with. Pedestrian. Distinguish by the nature. Pedestrian. Speller. Equestrian. Amateur. Service consumers. Wedding tours. Gourmet tours. Range of services. Adhere. System of discharges. And now, after we got acquainted with their words, let's begin reading and discussing our today's topic, our today's theme, classification of types of tourism. Now read attentively, listen, and try to catch the main meaning, the main context of the text. The most common classification of tourism is its division into types, categories, and forms. The type of tourism is determined by the nationality of tourists. For a particular country, the following types of tourism are distinguished. Internal tourism. It is travel of residents of any country in their own country. What does it mean? It's if we, living in Azerbaijan, travel about the Azerbaijan. We go from Ganja to Shaki, to Dabala, to some other historical places, just travel our own country. We can also call it domestic tourism. Entrance or inbound tourism means a visit to a country by visitors who are not residents of that country. It means that somebody comes to our country, for example, from some other country. They are not residents of this country. They come there from somewhere else. And exit or outbound tourism means visits by residents of country outside that country. What does it mean? We, living in Azerbaijan, go to travel to another country, for example, to Turkey, to Russia, and that kind of tourism is called outbound tourism. So, you must remember these three types of tourism we classified it by the nationality of tourists. There is another classification of tourism. It is determined by the purpose of travel. It means functional classification. So functional, what is the purpose of the tourism? It's a functional classification. Here are some types of this tourism. First, let's speak about recreational. The main aims of recreational tourism include active participation in some kind of recreational activity or participating in a sport or cultural event as a spectator. So just you walk, you rest. Medical tourism. Medical tourism. It is rest with the purpose of physical and psychological recovery. So we are not well and we go somewhere to rest, to maintain our physical or psychological recovery. Sports tourism. Trips with a purpose to participate in various sports events. Sports tourism is divided into two types. Active, a trip and stay in a visited place for direct participation in sport competitions. And passive, when a trip and stay are carried out to participate in sport competitions as spectators. Business tourism. The aim of this type of tourism is the need to perform official or professional tasks. Entertaining tourism. So, attend a festival or fair or other cultural events. Religious tourism. Religious tourism, pilgrimage, is one of the oldest forms of tourism and represents the movement of people to holy places, to visit temples and monasteries on religious days, where we go to Kabbalah, yes, and somewhere else. Cognitive tourism, when we learn something new, cognitive, includes trips of people in order to familiarize with the natural, historical, and cultural attractions, museums, theaters, social system, life, and traditions of the peoples in the visited country. Cognitive goals can be combined with the purpose of recreation. So you may learn something and at the same time you may rest. Educational. Educational tourism is a trip in order to obtain or improve the knowledge. The most common is learning a foreign language, direct communication with native speakers. You know that when we want to learn foreign language, the best way just to be in the sphere, in the atmosphere of the native speakers, to live among the native speakers. So it is educational tourism. All right, so we just discussed many types of tourism. We made their functional classification and then classification among different nationality, and we can say what types of tourism we know and what functional classification is, what is the purpose of travel, and what types of tourism we know by their purpose, traveling. All right. Here I gave you some other types of tourism, and I want you to prepare some presentations on the given types of tourism. You may choose make only one presentation, or you may choose several topics, several types of tourism for presentations. but each of you must do at least one presentation. Choose the type of tourism yourself. Then the second task is to listen to the record, just record 0103, visiting a travel agent. Just listen to it several times and be ready to reproduce it to role play. Alright, my dear students, that's all for today. Goodbye. Stay at home.